Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to show you how to change the front screen on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. Now I wanted to show you here that it is the Galaxy Note 3. So you can see the screen that I got is the full frame screen, which I'm going to explain that a little bit later on. And it already comes with a lot of the stuff, so you don't need to swap it over, at least mine did. But if you do have to swap it over, I'll show you how to swap everything over. And I'll include a link in the video description where I found this screen. And so it's an OEM screen, it's a real Samsung screen, it's not a cheap knockoff one from wherever. It's a real OEM Samsung screen, so just wanted to show you that. So let's get started. So to remove the back cover, what you will need to do is start in this corner here by the S Pen. You can either use the S Pen, or if you have a tool like this, you can just pry up a little bit right in that corner to get started, and then just kind of work your way around, and the back cover comes right off. So to remove the battery, all you need to do is put your fingernail in this slot right here and just pry up just like that. Next, what you will need to do is have a little Phillips screwdriver, and you'll need to take out these 12 screws. They're all the same size and they're all the way around there. To remove this cover, what you will need to do, if you have a little pry tool like this, or you can even use the S Pen if you pry carefully, just pry up a little bit right here in this corner, and then just work your way around. Going this way seems to work the best, and just put your fingers in there to help it a little bit. Now this corner right here is the hardest corner. That's why you want to come around this way, because it seems to be easier. And then yeah, if you just, I already had it pop loose, must be a little bit, but right in this corner here was the worst part. So this is the easiest way to do your screen, is get a whole frame assembly like I did. The one that I got came with everything except for the logic board. Basically, it had the charging port with it. It has the headphone jack, the front camera. Everything's already in here, the vibrator and everything. If yours doesn't come with that, I wanted to show you how to swap everything over. So just to review, everything that you're going to want to swap over is going to be this with the vibrator, the front camera, the headphone jack, and the earpiece speaker. There's this wire here that you're going to want to swap over. You're going to want to swap over the charging port flex cable, and everything else, like this cable, stays with the screen, the old screen. These all stay with the old screen. So that will be what you want to swap over. To remove the logic board, first of all, you'll need to undo this antenna right here with your pliers or whatever you want to use. I mean, I use the tweezers. But next, there's this connector right here that you'll want to unplug, and then there's this connector right here, and then you'll want to unplug this connector, and then there's one here. Just very carefully. And there's another one here. I recommend using a plastic tool if you can, because just so it for sure doesn't do any damage to the logic board. There's another connector here. And then we should be able to just pry up right down here. Just go really carefully. Make sure everything pops right out just like that. To change the headphone jack and the earpiece speaker, what you need to do is remove this one little Phillips screw right here. And then I use my tweezers to get in under this one corner right here. And then this headphone jack pops right out. And then sometimes there's adhesive under this flex cable right here that goes over to the earpiece speaker. They just come out just like that. So to reinstall them, start with your earpiece speaker, set it right down in where it needs to go. Set the headphone jack right down in where it needs to go with the adhesive. Grab your Phillips screw, put it right down in tight, make sure everything's seated good. And there you have it. So to change the front facing camera, what you need to do is there's a little metal piece on top here. So what you need to do is pry up on this corner right here, and this will pop right out. And then you can just pick up on the little tab here and wiggle it back and forth just carefully, and it pops right out. So there's the front camera with the other sensors on it. To put it back in, you just set it right down in there, nothing to it, and then just make sure that this metal piece pops in, holds it in, and there you go. To remove the vibrator, what you need to do is have something you can pry with and go under. There's a little slot right here in this corner. If you go under there and just get right under there and wiggle it around, and then just pick up carefully. And then there's this flex cable that goes with it here, and so I would recommend using a plastic pry tool whenever possible. With something like this, you almost need to have this tweezers, and if you just get under this very carefully, that whole thing pops right out, the vibrator and the flex cable. So then to put it back in, all you need to do is put that vibrator in first if you want, and then you just push down on everything. Maybe use your tweezers a little bit and just make sure that everything's seated down properly. This thing has to be in its notch here, and you're good to go. So next we will want to remove the charging port flex cable. So these connectors here, just lift up on this part very gently, pry under here, the one thing we want to do before we get too far is we want to remove this antenna wire right here, and we will want to pry under here. Make sure that's popped up. This has some pretty strong adhesive, so we'll want to just go careful. Just apply really slowly. That is if you want to reuse this. If you don't want to reuse it, you don't have to be quite as careful, but if you want to reuse it, then you have to be really slow and careful to not bend it much. So there it is. To reinstall the charging port, what you need to do is just set this right down on the holes there where it belongs, and then push down on everything. Make sure everything's seated right. Make sure this one on the side here goes in that hole there. You can just push it down just like that. And there you are. To reinstall the logic board, what you need to do is just carefully move all the stuff here, all these different connectors that are in the way. Make sure that they're all down out of the way. So now you're going to want to reconnect this connector. A lot of times you can just push down with your fingers because you can feel right where everything goes. And before you get too far ahead, make sure that this connector's out of the way here. And so yeah, just reconnect all these different connectors here. That one was a little bit of a tricky one. Just make sure that you get that one in properly and connect it while you're right at it. You can just be careful. There, it should snap right down. We can snap this connector down again. And then over here we can snap these ones into place. So just check. There's a connector here, 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 and here. There's one here and here, and then this antenna wire on both ends. Make sure those are all connected good. So it's a lot easier if you buy the whole screen with this frame already included, as you can see, because if you don't, you have to, you can see here's my damaged LCD. You have to take, it's quite a process, but you have to take a heat gun and you have to separate the glass all the way around here. And for the price difference, it's worth it buying the whole assembly. Just my personal opinion, but it saves a lot of work. And I'll include a link in the video description where I found a really good place to get this screen assembly. I found it for a really good price, and it's essentially brand new. And I mean, it is brand new, but it's out of an actual OEM phone instead of just a cheap knockoff. So it's an actual Samsung screen. So just wanted to share that with you. So just make sure you got everything swapped over and go on to the next step. To reinstall the back cover, what you need to do is just start in the top here, I would say. Actually, one thing, just make sure that the camera lens is good and clean before you install everything. Make sure that's free of dirt and this here as well. And just start in the top. And just make sure everything snaps into place as you come down through. And put your 12 screws back in. Next, to put in the battery, just make sure that this terminals are lined up on this side where these prongs are. Just set it in like that. Press down. Should be good to go. To put the back cover back on, all you need to do is set it on there. I'd recommend starting at the top. Just press it down as you come down through. And just make sure everything snaps in. And there you have it. Thanks for watching.